Okay, so I've started recording now. So our today's discussion topic is the resources and capabilities. So reflecting back last week, we talked about industry analysis, which was all about external environment. We looked into the PESTEL model, which was political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal environmental factors. So we looked into those factors and we understood that how a business needs to take into those factors into consideration. Because when a business wants to operate in the world, it's really important for them to take a very careful note of all of those factors that are affecting the business. But today's discussion will entirely be looking within the organization. What is within the organization? Because again, reflecting back that when you want to compete with others, first you have to know, okay, what are we good at? What are our resources and capabilities? What are the main things that we can do? So our today's main learning objectives would be to look into the resources and strengths. We will look into strategic and dynamic capabilities, talk about some very useful framework like VRIN, or also known as VRIO framework. All right. So this will be another very useful tool when it comes to the discussion of strategy. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about SWOT analysis, and we'll also look into some practical examples as well. And please feel free to interrupt me, ask questions, raise questions at any point. If you have any, more than happy to share and respond to your questions. So quick recap. We know from our own experiences and our readings that organizations tend to mold their strategies around factors to do with the external environment, in particular, the industry in which organizations operate. Same what I mentioned at the beginning, because organizations need to mold or shape their strategies according to what they see within the environment. However, it is likewise critical to understand how to evaluate a company's internal situation and capabilities and identify the resources, strengths capable of becoming cornerstone of the company's strategic approach. So, simply put, you need to understand what are you good at? What are your core strengths? So that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So, first of all, internal capabilities. So, competitive advantage is obviously derived from an organization's core capabilities or their abilities, what they can do better than its competitors. All right. Think again, why Apple is probably the most expensive smartphone. Can someone tell me? And why do they have the competitive advantage over all the other smartphone manufacturers?
It's longevity, it's innovative designs and materials they have used. And they have built their brand image later on, but from the day one, they have started in that way, that they will do such a thing, which other would not be able to do so. So that's why, and then unique product, they got that competitive advantages.
Yes, that's right. So Apple has developed such an integrated system into their apps, into the other devices, into the connectivity. It works like an ecosystem, right? So you have the Apple Watch, you have the iPhone, you have your iPod, you have like AirPods, you have like Apple home device these days, you have the Apple TV, you have so many things. And if you have all of this together, it works like an ecosystem. And sometimes when you buy an Apple device, it becomes an obligation for us that, we cannot get out of this obligation. So thus, Apple has maneuvered its existing ability into various products. So it's really important for an organization to be able to leverage from its competitive advantage. That's really the key. Because if the organization is not able to understand what are the core abilities, then it's going to be really difficult. And when looking to define strategy, we need to ask, like, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities and threats? Because these are obviously important. Every organization may have some key core strengths and weaknesses. So an organization, even before they want to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage, they really need to look into their own strengths and weaknesses. So that's what we're going to do today with the use of various frameworks and tools like we did in our last class. Oh my God, this noise. Are you guys like getting distracted? Like this noise, is it too loud?
No, it's okay. It's still okay. If they started more loudly, then it would be more distracting. But it's
I mean, I do respect, obviously, these are obviously our cultural, like, religious matters, but, just putting the mic like so loud, it just really, like, they could be vulnerable children or like, sick people. So that sometimes may create some problem, but anyway, separate issue. So let's talk about competitive advantage. So this is something where I want all of you to place a very careful attention. Strategic capabilities. So first, we need to understand what is strategic capabilities. Those that are difficult to imitate are of value to the customer and are better than those possessed by majority of the competitors. Okay, so this is what strategic capabilities is. Now, again, I want to reflect here. Probably I'll just make it bold. Those that are difficult to imitate. Can someone tell me the meaning of the word imitate?
Duplicate.
Yes, that's right.
Copy.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. So, difficult to imitate qualities, and these are also value to the customers. And are better than those possessed by majority of the competitors, all right? So what you have that are difficult to imitate and better than majority of your competitors, all right? So we'll get to some examples. Then comes dynamic capabilities. All right, so think about some dynamic capabilities. So dynamic capabilities are like physical or human capabilities. But these are not difficult to imitate, but these are something special, like state-of-the-art equipment or advantageous location, organizational, and some human factors as well. So an organization, when they want to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage in the market, they need to have some of their strategic capabilities and dynamic capabilities aligned together. And this will give them a competitive advantage. So a competitive advantage allows an organization to deal with market and environmental forces better than its competitors. Okay, so now let's have a quick reflection. And I want you, all of you, to just carefully understand and then also relate, because I'm going to ask you some more examples. So here are some images here. All right. Now the first image, does anyone know what is this image called, or like, any background about this image? It's hard to like tell. It looks like a vault, right?
So this is the vault where the secret of Coca-Cola is. I don't know. Yeah.
Coca-Cola's formula, I think.
The recipe of Coca-Cola is there, I think, in this vault.
You guys are much smarter than I thought, really. Well done, Sudipto. So this is actually the secret vault of Coke's recipe. All right, so that's the image of Coke's recipe. Now, we all love Coke, right? Like, if we consider like soft drinks, among all the other soft drinks, if we asked to choose what is the best one, now a vast majority of the people, maybe not like everyone, but probably 80 to 90% of the people would say my preferred soft drinks is Coke. Of course, some people, they like Fanta, they like Sprite, they like all the other ones. but 80% of the population would probably choose Coke. And what is the reason? Why do we love Coke so much?
Its taste.
The taste, and something that has never changed. Coke's, like, revolutionary flavor, or like, the recipe or the taste has never changed. Yes, they did some really, like, funny things in between. They had, like, Diet Coke, which didn't sell that well. Still, it does sell well in the market, not to the extent that they expected. They had green labeled Coke that came with, like, some green labels, and, like, organic Coke and things like that. That didn't sell well. But the main product is like Coke, the original Coke. That is still today is regarded probably the best soft drinks, like, in the market. And it is being said that this is the secret vault where they have kept their recipe of their Coke. And no other brand, despite trying a lot, have been able to replicate Coke's revolutionary flavor into their soft drinks. There are many other cola drinks provider, but none of them have been able to replicate what Coke has done. So this could be an example. In our previous slide is strategic capabilities. So this is an example of strategic capability. So strategic capability is something that is difficult to imitate, all right? Any quality that is difficult to imitate by its competitors. So as an organization, first, you have to develop your strategic capabilities, and then you'll be able to say, all right, so this is our strategic capabilities, and this is where we are different. We all know what this car brand is. It's BMW, right? Most of us would know, like, with the logo and with the feature and everything, we know this is BMW, obviously the popular car manufacturing brand, BMW. Now, BMW, among many other, like, automobile brands, is still regarded as probably one of the best. And the reason being, BMW's safety ranking has been probably one of the best among all the other, like, vehicle manufacturer. It's being said that BMW cars are, like, probably the safest drive. Like, it's a driving machine. Like, you get that very personalized experience. So I'm probably a bit biased because, I drive BMW. So, I'm a bit biased because, I always have been, like, that was my dream car. But you will find the ratings among many other brands that BMW is probably the best car in the market. And the main reason being its safety feature. That is what kept BMW on top of every other brand. And this could be another example of strategic capabilities. But there's another thing that we came to know, which was the dynamic capabilities. All right, so dynamic capabilities are state-of-the-art equipment or advantageous location. Organizational, like, outstanding sales force, human factors. Now, dynamic capabilities, the reason it says dynamic, that means it could be changed. So dynamic capabilities is something that you can change time and again, depending on the situation. And a good example could be, this is an example of Apple Store. Now, I don't know if you have visited Apple Store overseas. If you may have traveled overseas sometime, you will see that Apple Store are, like, it's a state-of-the-art store. It's as luxurious as it looks. And also inside the store, the technology, the comfort, the display, the aesthetic, that is amazing. And this is what makes Apple probably the top brand, because there's many other technology brands. They also have, like, good quality phone, good quality laptops and computers and watch and whatnot. But still, Apple combines all of this together into this state-of-the-art, like, their facilities, like, their retail store, where you can not only get the retail products, you can get your products, like, if you've got any expert advice, you get the expert advice. If you need to repair your device, you get that. So it's a one store, but it's a one-stop solution for all of your Apple product need and wants. So this is another example of dynamic capabilities. So again, I want all of us to wrap this thing inside our brain so that we all understand the difference, because this is going to be really key, not only for quiz, not only for for understanding, but for the other assessment as well. We will be talking about this a lot. So an organization need to first develop their strategic capabilities and develop their dynamic capabilities. So now let us have a quick reflection. I want all of you to probably pause 30 seconds and think about any brand that you know has a distinctive like a strategic capability or dynamic capability. Think about it, and then probably let's share so that we can exchange our ideas. All right, so leaving the floor open to you, just feel free to jump in and then share your idea, or what do you think? Think about the brands, the various brands that you use on a daily basis, whether it's your laptop, whether it's your phone, whether it's your like car or watch, whatever that is.
Regarding phone, I found OnePlus. It's like whatever the Android phones have in market, it has that kind of thing which have difficult to imitate and all that. They have some strategic capabilities in their products, and
can
they
you
are a bit different than
maybe specify one or two such strategic capabilities?
Like I was just using that phone, so it was my personal experience in the last few months. So previously I was using like Samsung and other phones, Nokia's, but now I'm feeling like they are a bit faster like anything, very fast operating.
Which phone are you using?
OnePlus, sir.
Okay, OnePlus, all right.
OnePlus. And I'm finding it more convenient than all other I have used earlier in Android phones.
And
maybe
definitely it's cheaper compared to other expensive brands. Is that also one of the probably a dynamic capability, would you think? Because considering the speed or considering the quality that you're receiving, is it compared to those flagship price compared to a Galaxy phone or iPhone?
Yeah, it's a bit cheaper, yes, than iPhone and Galaxy. Yes,
okay.
But again, it's not, it's a bit higher than other brands. Like if you go with the Samsung's other brands rather than Note and others, the Samsung other brands are a bit cheaper than OnePlus.
Okay. All right.
And its hand feels and other things also impressed me quite well, because the first day I have seen it, after opening the box, I bought it, because the hand feels and other things also I found like I'm using my MacBook. So with the iPhone things I was used to. So when I was looking for a device for Android, so OnePlus makes me some impressed, and I found they have some bit.
Okay. All right, that's a good one. Anyone else? Any reflection about any other product that you use? And if you can probably think, what is the strategic capability? What is the dynamic capability? Let's talk about the restaurants. Does anyone here go to one specific restaurant to eat? Like, when it's like weekend, you go to a specific restaurant to your family, or like, any specific place that you go to? Do you have any preferred one?
North End Coffee restaurant. and they have designed their outfit so beautifully, I think.
What's the brand, Mohsina, again?
So North End.
Okay.
Coffee, sir.
So North End, is it like a coffee shop or just a brand?
Sir, coffee shop. It's a coffee shop.
Coffee shop, all right.
So it's a chain of coffee shop.
Okay, all right. North End, I've never heard of this one. Maybe I wasn't here in the last 10 years. So where are the, like, you know, the stores located, like the cafes located?
Morani, I can answer.
So what's special about North End, Mohsina? Why do you like North End so much?
So their coffee is so special, sir. And there is so cupcake and pastry, and it's a cupcake and pastry so delicious. And the most importantly, the coffee is so different from other coffee shop.
Do they taste like separate or, you know, distinctively like separate than other brands?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Their taste is so different, sir. The coffee taste.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else with any observation from any brand, any product that you use? Yeah, who's next?
Yeah, I think in this regard, I may propose a wrong clothing brand.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Yeah, because it seems its fabric is so unique. Like, it seems like if you wear a dress from a wrong, it can be recognized everywhere that this dress is from a wrong. So I think they have that specific feature, like their fabric is so unique and it's hard to find it with any other clothing brand.
Okay, very good one, Namfuka. I really like that example. So Arong is obviously undoubtedly one of the best, you know, clothing brand in Bangladesh, which is obviously admired by international people, as we can see now. So definitely Arong does something very well, and probably the fabric and the, like, you know, the quality of the product is so unique. So that's why it's being admired and liked by people all over the world. So that's their strategic capabilities, because there are many other brands, but Arong, what they do, you know, obviously is unique. So I guess the reason is, whenever next time you use a product or a brand, I want you to very carefully analyze and scan what could be their strategic capabilities. Just try to single it out first. What is the strategic capability? Like one thing that makes them different than any other brand, all right? So next time, whenever you use a brand, think about what is that one thing. There could be some other dynamic capabilities which are not so, like, you know, unique, but still they give them that competitive advantage. So this is really probably the key to our understanding in this week's discussion. So moving on, we'll probably just expand this understanding through other theories and frameworks. So let's now talk about resource and strength. So resource is a set of assets that organizations have or can call upon, okay? So every organization has some resources and they have some strengths, all right? Competencies are the ways those assets are used or deployed effectively. So resource is the set of assets the organization have or can call upon, but competencies. Now here's another problem. Many organizations, despite having the resources, they weren't able to use their competencies. And again, I need you to give me some example. Okay, I had to mute some people. So if you are not talking, please make sure to mute all of your microphones. Obviously, I'm having lots of distraction anyway from my end. So just trying to minimize that as much as we can. So again, we need to pause here a little bit and think think about some organizations or some brands or some products. They had resources, they had set of assets that the organizations could have called upon or recalled, but they did not have the competency to do that. Can someone give me any example of any brand? Despite having resources, they're able to use that or not use that. I think we spoke about some examples at the beginning of this course. Like, even I think last week we were talking about some failed brands. Despite having that competitive advantage or, the edge in the market, they weren't able to capitalize that. We were talking about some of these. Anybody? A lot of people, they've turned their cameras off. It's hard to like really understand if they're connected in the class or not. Yeah, who was that? Sorry, say again.
Sir, I said Nokia.
Yes, good example.
Then Motorola.
Good example. Nokia, it could be a good example. They had the resources. They had the resources. Like, they had market share, 40% or more than 40% of the global cell phone market share. But they did not have the competence, the way those assets are used or deployed effectively. Nokia weren't able to do that. Whereas Apple had their resources and they were also competent, which they're still doing. Now, at some point, if Apple will no longer be able to use their competences, they will actually stumble as well from the market. But at least what we can see so far, there's no way it looks like they're going to stumble anytime sooner. Of course, there might be a new brand comes in the market that could be a pineapple, and a pineapple comes into the market and the pineapple can take over. But till then, Apple will be the leading brand in the market, because they have their resources and competences together, and they know very well that how can they leverage that.
Sir, to add it like that, iPhone is coming in the market maybe from Elon Musk, Tesla. So iPhone.
What phone is that?
Have some iPhone.
iPhone.
Yes, sir. iPhone.
Who's bringing iPhone?
It's actually Tesla's phone.
Tesla's phone, sir.
Wow.
It's coming with different features and also Elon Musk is using it in different ways. So
oh my God,
he's coming
that
towards
is going
iPhone.
to be
Yes.
really, really interesting.
Yes.
Like
Very
Elon Musk is also, he's being said he's the real Iron Man. Like, he does everything. Like, if you've seen the Iron Man movie, he does all the impossible stuff. So Elon Musk is someone like that. So if he gets into the smartphone market, it's going to be a really interesting battle between Apple and, Tesla. So yes, that is going to be very interesting.
Elon Musk is so confident about his strategies and plan that he doesn't care what others is saying and what others' opinion is. He just do whatever he wants.
Yes. And this is what one of the entrepreneurial qualities are. Entrepreneurs, sometimes they need to be very stubborn. Because stubbornness and it also comes from your gut feeling, from your experience, learning from lots of failures. Because if we look into people like Elon Musk's track, he made lots of mistakes in his life. He had lots of failed ventures as well. So they've learned from their experience. So they're seasoned entrepreneurs. So that's why. And yeah, of course, like a little bit of stubbornness is really something what you need as an entrepreneur. So yeah, that's a very good example. So now let's talk about identifying market opportunities. Because when you have your resources, when you have your competences, then you need to understand that how can we identify market opportunities. So opportunities most relevant to a company are those offering good match with its financial and organizational resource and capabilities, best prospects for profitable long-term growth, and has potential for competitive advantage. So when you know that you have your resources and you also know that, yes, we are capable enough, then you need to look into opportunities. And opportunities are a good match with its financial and organizational resource and capabilities. Now let's have a reflection again and look into market, how it has transitioned. Now, since Elon Musk, now that we're talking about Elon Musk, see, since this guy, he started with like, the venturing into Mars, that has suddenly become like a real product these days. Ever since Elon Musk started his Mars expedition, nowadays every other brand like, Virgin, obviously Virgin started a bit before because they had Virgin Galactic before, but Virgin, Amazon, all the other big brands nowadays, their next product has become Mars expedition, like, going to the moon. And people have started already buying plots in the moon. Now, a few years ago, at least a decade ago, this just sounded like crazy dream. But nowadays, it's becoming a reality. So nowadays, that tourism for the highly rich people has become like, going to the moon. So when they next time they go for holiday, they're going to the moon for a holiday. And that is no longer a story. That has become a reality. Only a few days ago, like, Amazon CEO, Jeff Bezos, he went to the moon with some of his friends. Richard Branson, he went to the moon with a few of his friends. And they're already selling tickets for the next, journey. So this has become like a reality. So the thing is, they had resources and capabilities and they have created new opportunities. So that's another thing, that how can you create the opportunity in the market as well? Now, we'll talk about some examples. Examples of resources. So a strength is something a firm does well or an attribute that enhances its competitiveness. So, their valuable skills and competencies and capabilities, their valuable physical assets, valuable human assets, valuable organizational assets, valuable intangible assets, and some important competitive capabilities. Attributing play. So these are some examples of what are the resources could be. So it's all to do with your physical asset, your human asset, your skill and competences, your capabilities. But what are the competences? So the competences are expertise in integrating multiple technologies to create families of new products. And a good example is Apple, because nowadays, you see, they have expertise integrating multiple technologies to create families of new products. Now, Apple phone, like, smartphone was something. Now, slowly they got into every other household product. They have Apple phone, they have AirPod, they have so many other devices that they're getting into. So they're creating the families of new products in a way that it's integrating. And this is how they are using their resources, transforming their resources into their competences. Know-how in cost-efficient supply chain management. Now, this is another one where we could say that a vast majority of the Chinese products are doing very well. Why the Chinese phone brands are becoming so popular? If we see the global market share, probably we'll see that right after Apple and Samsung, there could be probably some of the Chinese, smaller brands, like, My Phone or, I don't know, there's lots of like Vivo, there's like Oppo, a lot of these like Chinese brands, they are getting into the market. And the reason is they have the know-how into the cost-efficient supply chain management. They have been able to lower their cost so significantly that they can give us almost the same quality feature of the product into a very reasonable price. So that's why a lot of the Chinese brands are doing so well, because they know the cost-efficient supply chain management. Speeding new or next generation products to the market. Again, good example could be like, next generation products into the market, something that could be a revolutionary, like a disruptive innovation in the market, and something that will suddenly disrupt the market totally. Better after-sales service capability as well. A lot of the brands that we do use generally for their after-sales service. And probably Apple Store is a good example that we use. Apple is that so safe, especially in the developed nations. People they use Apple products because the after-sales service is great, because you can always go to their one-stop center where you get to receive all the benefits. So the customer service, that's also something very important. And this is where many brands, they're also trying to create their competitive advantage. The skills in manufacturing a high quality product, how skilled they are to manufacture a very high quality product. So they're manufacturing excellence as well. And again, we can talk about Tesla. Like, Tesla is probably pioneering the market of the battery operated car. So we know Tesla came to the market purely due to the saving energy and something like that. So that's probably something, another important feature. Capability to fill customers' order accurately and swiftly, taking customer orders. So very large supply chain oriented businesses, like especially in the transport industry or in the air freight industry, like DHL, FedEx, they can deal with their customer needs very accurately and swiftly. And these are examples that how these brands are able to leverage their resources. Okay. So distinctive competences, again, some examples. Toyota brand is so popular all over the world. Probably Toyota is the most sold automobile brand in the whole world globally. And the reason being low cost, high quality manufacturing of motor vehicles. Toyota car brand, cars obviously are probably the lowest when it comes to, not the lowest, but in low price, you get a high quality car. That's where the Toyota's excellence involves. Starbucks, innovative coffee drinks and store ambience. So Starbucks probably not the best coffee, but obviously the store ambience, the brand, everything, that becomes their competence. Dell computers. So Dell is probably one of the, when it comes to B2B market, Dell is probably one of the most popular brands. So that's another example. I'm going to slightly skip to, there's one thing called resource-based view. I'll probably bring that up later. But now I want you to introduce to a new concept. Okay. VRIO. This is another framework that we need to be aware of. So VRIO framework is a tool through which an organization can actually analyze its internal capabilities. So the question is, what makes you unique as a brand? All right. So think about those factors. Now, you might find that this is actually used as, probably I should just do it now. It's also said VRIN. Because in many books you'll find it's called VRIO. So N, non-substitutability, is also known as how well the brand is organized. So the other O is also used for organization. Okay. So anyway, so this is a tool which we will be using today. We'll do some analysis, and while we will be talking about this, and this is probably one of the best takeaway from this class. When an organization or brands, they want to measure their uniqueness, they need to use this framework. Let me explain this one a little bit. Valuable. So valuable, meaning that they must be a source of greater value in terms of relative costs and benefits than similar resources in competing firms. All right. So something that is valuable. And again, why do we love Apple products? Because they give us the value. They give us the prestige. Like, if there's like three people, like, they have their smartphone. If the one with the Apple phone takes it out of his or her pocket, obviously he or she would feel more prestigious, or, you know, add to his or her, like, you know, ego that, yes, I'm using a better phone. When you use a Rolex watch, why do you like to use Rolex watch? Because we know it is a very expensive watch. So when you use the product, you use the value. When you drive a car, BMW, as opposed to probably Toyota, probably you would feel that value. So what value your product offers to your customers? Rare. So rareness implies that the resource must be rare in the sense that it is scarce relative to demand for its use or what it produces. So there's got to be some rare aspect, all right? So rareness implies that resource must be rare in the sense that it is scarce relative to demand for its use or what its products. Now, so some rare qualities, all right, so that other brands would not be able to offer to your product. So think about something that is very rare in your product. So maybe think about, let's think about some local products. Let's talk about Grameenphone, all right? So why do we prefer Grameenphone when it comes to network? We know that probably the reception or the, you know, connectivity wise, Grameenphone probably has better coverage compared to all the other brands currently operating, because they have been in the market for longer than the other brands. So what they have, this is rare, is that the network, like, you know, the robust network coverage that they have compared to other brands is more than the other brands. So something that has to be rare. Inimitable. Again, the question is, what is imitable and what is not inimitable? So inimitable means it is difficult to imitate or copy or replicate or duplicate. That is what inimitability is. And non-substitutability is also, again, this is obviously could be organized as well. So this means other different types of resources cannot be functional substitutes. So there's got to be some non-substitutability aspect as well, that other functional products cannot be functional substitute of that product. And does your product have any of that into their product, or, you know, any feature embedded into that product? So that's what called non-substitutability as well. And the part that I say that organized as well is like, you know, how well the product is well organized. So we'll actually do O, like, you know, we'll consider the O. Let's just get rid of the N, because the N is sometimes a bit overlapping with the inimitability aspect. So I'm going to just delete that. So if you just Google, you'll find, like, you know, it's both, like, you know, like both of these are considered as, like, you know, the same framework. So let's just consider this one. Another tool, and it's a very popular one. It's being used by most of us, we know this as a very popular one. SWOT analysis. Have you ever done a SWOT analysis? Has anyone heard SWOT analysis before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so SWOT is probably a very popular one, and it's mostly used by majority of the, like, you know, disciplines, whether in business, whether it's finance or marketing. In every discipline, SWOT analysis is used. So SWOT is a popular framework that's mostly used for internal analysis, internal capability analysis. So what are your strengths, your advantages, your capabilities, resources, assets, and peoples? What are your weaknesses? What's the missing link in inside your organization? Then what could be some of your opportunities? What could be some of your threats? All right, so think about these. What are these aspects? So that is also something you need to consider when you're thinking about your internal capabilities. So I guess these are some tools that we need to consider when it comes to the internal analysis. So just a summary of our today's discussion, again, just reflecting back, because some of you joined the class later. Today we spoke only about internal capabilities, that how an organization can do a fact check of their self. And this does not only relate to organizations, actually we can relate this to our own case as well. Imagine there are 5 people lining up for a job, right? Right after you finish your degree, you'll have to submit your resume to somewhere, right? You want to get a good job. So obviously you're planning to get a good job, but have you ever asked that what are my internal strengths? What are my weaknesses? How better placed I am with my key strengths, my resources, and my capabilities. So if you do that, it's like an assessment of yourself first. Because even before you complain that, yes, I didn't receive that job. Oh, that employer was like, he was not fair. I didn't receive that job. But have you done that analysis of yourself, that what are you capable of? Have you done that analysis of yourself? Yes or no? So